So good morning everyone. So in our last class we studied the various relational algebraic operators. Today we shall discuss the next set of relational operators. So which includes aggregate functions. So we have already discussed in SQL. We have five different aggregate functions including sum, average, maximum, minimum and count. So the same can be represented in relational algebra, whereas they cannot be represented as a set of basic operations. So for that purpose, aggregate functions are utilized and they can be specified over a relation. So the aggregate function symbol, so it is this particular symbol f, it is utilized. So in order to denote a maximum value, so we can write max salary of employee. So this retrieves the maximum salary value from the employee table. So the only difference between this particular notation and the one that is used in SQL is the presence of parenthesis. So in SQL we would have used max of salary, whereas here that parenthesis we will not use. So similarly, minimum salary can be obtained using min salary. Sum of all the salaries can be obtained using sum, and at this same time we can apply the count function like this. So count returns the number of rows here, and multiple aggregate functions can be applied at the same time using the comma operator. So count SSN comma average salary. So this returns the number of SSNs rows, along with that the average salary of all the employees. So additional thing is a grouping with aggregation. So the previous examples we saw how one or more attribute can be utilized in the aggregate functions. So at most of the times we need to group the tuples and then apply the aggregate function. So just like how we were using group by class in our SQL. So for example, for each department, we want to retrieve the department number, count number of SSNs, that is the number of employees in that particular department, and average salary of the department. So if you want to find this, then we want to apply a grouping on the entire relation. So the variation of this aggregate function operator F. So what we can do is a grouping attribute can be placed to left side of the symbol. Okay. Then aggregate function to the right side of the symbol. So the same F is utilized, but here the grouping attribute will be written to the left side of this symbol and to the right side. So we can specify the aggregate functions. So now what happens? So here D number is written, aggregate function, count SSN, average salary. Now this will return the department number, count and the average salary. So three things it will return. So this is an example result. Okay. So aggregate functions can be written like this. The first one, we are obtaining the count average salary based on grouping D number. So D number, count SSN, average salary. So this is undergoing a renaming operation. So renaming is done. Row of R. So the relation name we are renaming it to R. Department number, number of employees, average salary. So like that. So if renaming is not done, then we'll obtain the result like this. And if we don't apply the group by attribute like this, so we will get the result like this. So which means the department number is not present. So if department number we are grouping, then we will get the department number column followed by its values, number of employees and average salary. So if we don't group, then uh, count will be done on the entire employee table and average salary is written. Only one row will be present in the result, so that you can observe in the table C. So recursive closure operation. So this is another type of operation where in general which cannot be specified as a basic original relational operation. So such is recursive closure. So this operation is applied to a recursive relationship. So recursive relationship means in the employee table you can observe there is a relationship between one employee tuple and another employee tuple. So that is through the manager SSN or supervisor. So for an employee, another employee will be a supervisor. So that kind of relationship is called as a recursive relationship. So an example of recursive relationship is to retrieve all the supervisees of an employee at all levels. So which means if a person A is a supervisor of B, then we'll obtain the supervisor of A also. Then his supervisors. So like that. So the chain will continue. So when we want to have such kind of queries, so that cannot be represented in a basic relational algebra. So here the notation which we used is, so all employees E dash directly supervised by E. Then all employees E double dash directly supervised by each employees E dash. Then all employees E triple dash, so directly supervised by E double dash. So that is how the chain link continues. So that kind of operations so come under recursive closure. So although it is possible to retrieve the employees at each level and then apply the union, but we cannot in generally specify a query such as um, retrieve the supervisees of some employee at all the levels, so without utilizing the looping mechanism. So here looping mechanism is required because we don't know how many levels are there. So in SQL, it provides a syntax for recursive closure operations. So whereas in relational algebra, so we cannot. So here, so you can see over here, so a supervision table, so SSN, super SSN, and we are extracting one particular SSN having this particular value. So these are the set of people who are supervised by Borg. Then these people supervised by Borg subordinates. Then we can utilize the union. So if we know the number of levels, then we can apply it and obtain the union. Whereas otherwise, the recursive closure operation, so we cannot apply, but in SQL, so that feature is available. So next concept we have is outer join. So far we have studied the Cartesian product and the join operation. So Cartesian product means, so it is just the combination of a tuple with all other tuples of another relation, and the number of rows will be equal to the product of number of rows in both the relations. So then we studied join operation, where after applying the Cartesian product we will apply the some join condition, and only those tuples which are matching or satisfies the condition will be in the result. So such joins include natural join and equijoins. So without matching a tuple, the one which is not matched are eliminated in the join result. Even the tuples which are having the null values for the join attributes will be eliminated. So this amounts to loss of information. So in some of the cases, there will be a scenarios where we want to retain the entire tuples of one of the relation or both. So in such cases, so if you want to retain all the tuples in any one of the relation or both, regardless of whether there is a matching tuple or not, or whether a join condition is met or not, we want to retain them. So if we want such kind of result, then we will go for the outer join. So again in outer join, there are two categories, a left outer join and right outer join. So in left outer join, it keeps the every tuple in the left side or left relation. So if no matching tuple is found in the opposite side, then that particular attribute will be marked as null values. So the symbol is this. So R left outer join this particular symbol. Similarly, right outer join. So the lines are towards the right side. So here what happens? Every tuple in the S will be kept and only matching values will be present in R. And those who doesn't match will have a null value. So this is left side, this is right side. If we want to keep both the relations, then the symbol will be like this. So this is called a full outer join. So which keeps all the tuple in both the left and right relations. When no matching tuples are found, then the particular attribute will be filled with null values. So let us look at them with the example. So this is one such example of left outer join where we are joining first name, middle name, last name and the department name. So if department ID is not present, then the particular entry will be null, but it will retain all the employees. So consider this particular example. So two tables. So let us mm, call this one as R and this one as yes. Now, if there are again, if we apply the Cartesian product, then it will be like this. Okay, if I apply this, then we will have 2 into 3, 6 entries. Okay, so yeah, the number of tuples is 6. Now, if we join the ID along with ATT1, so that is attribute 1, then we will have only 4 entries. 1 will join with 1, 2 will join with 2. So only 2 entries are possible when we have the join condition when we specify. So for example, it is indicated like this. R, this is the join symbol, and the join condition is id is equal to att1 of yes. So if we use this, then we will have only two entries. One will get joined with 1, then 2 will get joined with 2. That's it. So this example we had discussed in our last class. So now let us see how the outer join works. So first let us consider the left outer join R. So left outer join means the line should appear to left side. Yes. And on what attributes we are joining, so that we have to write over here. So that is id is equal to att1. So id is equal to att1. So then what happens? First it will retain all the entries that are there in the relation R. So 1 ABC, um, the age is 20, over here 30. So all the tuples in the left relation, that is R, will be retained. So only 2 are there, so 2 entries. So if 10 are there, so all the 10 we would have written. Now it will check the matching. So if matching is there, then it will be entered over here. So for 1, is there a matching? Yes. So ATTR1 is also matching, so that is 1. ATTR2 corresponding is 50. So now for 2, here also 2. So the ATTR2 is 60. And no other is there, so it is left out. Suppose if we had an additional entry over here, so let us assume there is one more having the value 6 MNO 40. Then in the beginning only we would have written MNO 40. But for this particular 6 there is no matching. Since this is a left outer join, 6 we have to write because it appears in the left side relation. But there is no matching ATT1 and ATT2 on the other side. So these values will be filled with null, or we can say it is a blank. So this is the left outer join where all the tuples from the left side of the relation will appear and only the matching tuples from the other side will be retained. And if there is no matching, then that particular place will be filled with null value. Now similarly, so we can consider the uh, right outer join. So right outer join can be specified like this. Again we will write the same condition, id is equal to att1. So I am writing it in red color. So since it is a right outer join, so all the entries in the uh, right table will be retained. So that is 1, 50, 60 and 70, and only the matching ones will be from R. So 1 there is a matching, so it will be written 1 ABC 20, and for 2 there is a matching, so XYZ 30. For 3 there is no matching, so we will have null. All the 3 attributes will be null. So this will be the result of right outer join. So the one in red is the result of right outer join, and the one in the blue color is the left outer join. Now full outer join. So full outer join, so it is indicated the lines will be present at both the ends. And again the condition over here is id is equal to att1 of yes. Now all entries will be there, but only where there is a matching, there the entry will be there, otherwise it will be null. So first one, if there is a matching, so ABC 20, so 2 XYZ 30. Is there a matching for 1? Yes. So 1 50, so 2 60. Here we have ended with relation R. So now on the other side we have 370, but there is no matching, so null. So let us add one more. So just like our previous example, so let us call this as 6 MNO 40. Then what happens? So this will be there 6 MNO 40. Here there are no entries, so it will be null, like this. So four entries, out of which there is a matching in only two. On the other two, there is no matching, so corresponding entries will be null. So this is full outer join where we retain all the tuples from both the relation, and only if there is a matching, the entry will be there. If there is no matching, then null will be filled. So you can observe here. So this is all the entries from the right table, and this is the entry from uh, left table. So these three values, so all will be present. So then we have another concept, that is additional relational operation, that is outer union operation. So outer union operation is developed to take the union of a tuple from two relation if the relations are not type compatible. So far we have studied that in order to perform any set operation on the tuples, the two entity types should be compatible. So compatible means the number of attributes and their types should be same. So sometimes what happens, so there will be no compatibility, but still we want a union. So consider these relations are having x and y attributes, S is having x and z. So these are partially compatible. So meaning that only some of their attributes are compatible. Here it is x. So attributes that are type compatible are represented only once in the result, and those attributes that are not type compatible from either relation are also kept. So if we perform the union operation, so x, y and z will appear. So since x is compatible, it will appear only once. So the resulting relation will be x, y and z. So one such example is a student and an instructor relation. So both will be having name, SSN, department. Whereas student is having advisor, instructor will having rank. So in some of the universities, a instructor can become a student also. So if you want to perform the union, then name can match, USN can match, and department. So whereas rank and advisor will not match. We can perform the union operation and our result can be like this: name, SSN, department, advisor and rank. So both the attributes from student and instructor will be present. So if there is an entry, then the value will exist, otherwise it will have null values. So this is the outer union operation. So outer union operation, the union of the two relations will be done even if it is not type compatible. So it is enough if there is at least one attribute from each relation which is compatible with each other. So example of a few relational algebraic queries. So retrieve the name and address of all employees who work for research department. So we need the name and address of an employee who work in research department. But in employee table, only department number is present and not the department name. So what we have to do is first we have to extract the department number for research. Then that particular condition is applied to the employee. So first what we will do is we will apply the select operation sigma department name is equal to research from department. So then we will get the department entity where the department name is research. So that will be present in research department table. Now this table and the employee table we are joining. So research department and employee. What is the joining condition? So joining condition is department number is equal to department number. So this attribute is from employee table. So D number is equal to D number of employee. So they will be extracted and it will be stored in research underscore employee. So if you observe here, whatever we have written on the left side of the arrow mark, they are all the temporary names and we can give any name for them. So in the research employees, from these we can extract only attributes which are required for us, that is the name and address. So we will be extracting using the project operation. So pi, that is a symbol, first name, last name and address from research employees. So in 3 steps we are extracting the result. So in the first step we took only those department entities whose name is research. Then that one and the employee we joined, and then we extracted the result. So this simple breakdown is being done in order to extract the details. Otherwise, we could have written a SQL query like this. So select, we need only those attributes. So we can write F name, L name and address from, so which tables I will just write the short form employee E and department D. Okay. And in the where condition, we will write the join condition where E dot D number is equal to D dot D number, and the additional condition is D dot D name should be equal to research. So this is the SQL query we would have written to extract the name and address of the employees who work in the research department. So the same SQL query can be converted to this relational algebraic query. So if you observe here, the project operation is written here, then the join operation is written over here, and the condition is split. So this becomes the join condition, and this another condition is, this is the first statement, first relational algebraic statement which we have written, and the second one is the join operation. So whereas in SQL, so all the things can be specified together. So you should be in a position to convert a relational algebraic query to SQL or SQL to relational algebraic query. So similarly, let us look at the second one. So that is retrieve the names of employees who have no dependents. So no dependent means when we join the employee and the department, so there should be no joining conditions. So what we will do is, first we'll extract the SSN of all the employees. So that is present in all employees. So next we'll extract SSN, ESSN in all the dependent table. So which means here all the employee SSNs are extracted. Here also all the employee SSNs are extracted. Then we will perform the set difference operation. So that is all employees minus employees with dependents. So now we are left with those SSNs which are not present in the dependent table. So that difference will store somewhere. For these SSNs, so we will next extract the last name and first name. So like this. So if you have to write the SQL query for this, so it may appear like this. So select SSN from employee. So this is the first part. Then we will be writing minus. So this is the minus in SQL. So then we will write select ESSN from dependent. So now here what happens, we will get the list of ESSNs or employee SSN who don't have a dependent. Then for these we will extract the names. So outer one more query we need to write. So that is select last name and first name from employee where SSN in. So we can use in condition. So the outer one which we can write, so that start star star, so that can be, so I will write that over here. Select first name comma last name from employee where SSN in. So this is the condition, and within the parenthesis we need to mention this particular query. Okay, so this entire thing will appear inside this. Okay, so this breakdown, so first extract SSNs of all the employees, SSNs in the department, perform the minus operation, then extract the last name and first name of the result. So that is what we are doing. First step, extracting SSN of all the employees, then extract SSNs from the dependent table, then perform the minus operation. Then whatever SSNs are obtained after this minus operation, for them we will be extracting the first name and last name. So this completes the relational algebra. So in our next class, so we shall study the relational database design using the entity relationship to relational mapping. So it is nothing but how to convert a ER diagram to schema or ER diagram to tables. So for that we have 7 steps. So we shall discuss this in our next class. So you can put your attendance in the chat box.